welcome back. This is the second episode of Journey into Legend. I, of course, am your host, Emerald Raven, and today we are going to be talking about a creature called almas. So, as usual, let's just jump right in. High in the mountains of Central Asia, where the air thins and the landscape turns harsh and unforgiving, there are places where sound carries strangely. Wind moves through stone like breath through a rib cage, and footsteps echo longer than they should. In these regions, people have long believed they are not alone, even when no one else can be seen. This is where stories of the almas take root. Unlike many creatures that live on the edge of imagination, the almas have always occupied an uncomfortable space between folklore and anthropology. It's spoken of not as a spirit or a demon, but as something physical, something that walks, eats, sleeps, and leaves tracks behind. For centuries, local populations across Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and the Caucasus Mountains and parts of Siberia have described encounters with beings that look almost human, but not quite enough to be mistaken for one. The almas is not introduced in stories as a sudden terror. There is no dramatic reveal, no monstrous entrance. Instead, the encounter often begins quietly, a figure seen at a distance, movement along a ridgeline, a shape standing still among rocks, watching. At first, it looks like a person. The assumption is where danger begins. The almas is described as tall and powerfully built, with a body structure that resembles a human but lacks refinement. The chest is broad, the arms long, and the posture slightly forward leaning, as though the weight pulls it closer to the earth. Its movements are purposefully economical and efficient, not wild or erratic. Its entire body is said to be covered in hair, ranging in color from dark brown to reddish or black, depending on the region and the season. The hair is thickest along the back and shoulders, thinning toward the chest and limbs. In winter accounts, the hair is described as matted and heavy, often coated with dirt, snow, or ice. The face of the almas is one of the most unsettling features, precisely because it is so familiar. Witnesses describe a flat or slightly sloped forehead, deep-set eyes, a broad nose, and a pronounced jaw. The mouth is human-like, capable of expression, but often appears slack or emotionless. Some accounts describe the eyes as intelligent, observant, and weary, while others describe them as dull and unreadable. This inconsistency only adds to the unease. The almas is not described as monstrous in the traditional sense. It doesn't have claws, fangs, or exaggerated features meant to inspire intimidate, or cause fear. Its terror comes from recognition. It looks close enough to a human that the mind struggles to categorize it, and that hesitation is deeply unsettling. Accounts do, however, agree on one thing: the almas is very strong. It is said to move with ease across terrain that exhausts even the most experienced climbers. Steep slopes, loose stone, dense forests, and snow-covered ground pose very little challenge. Its stride is long and steady, allowing it to cover ground quickly without appearing to rush. Despite its size and power, the almas is rarely described as aggressive. Most encounters involve observation rather than confrontation. The creature watches. It keeps a distance. If noticed, it often retreats rather than advancing. This behavior has led many to believe the almas is a cautious creature by nature, aware of humans, but uninterested in direct conflict. Now, that does not mean that it is harmless. Stories from rural communities describe almas individuals stealing food, livestock, and supplies from isolated settlements. These thefts are usually carried out at night or during moments when people are distracted. Tracks are found leading into remote areas, disappearing into rock or forests where pursuit becomes impossible. There are also accounts, far less common but far more disturbing, that describe direct interaction. Hunters encountering an almas at close range, shepherds surprised by one while tending animals, travelers stumbling upon one while crossing mountain passes. In these moments, the almas is said to react not with rage but with alarm. It vocalizes with deep guttural sounds that resemble neither human speech nor animal calls. This sound is described as warning signals rather than threats, as if the creature is communicating displeasure or asserting territory. Some witnesses report that the almas appear curious about humans, watching from cover for an extended period. Others say it seems weary, retreating as soon as eye contact is made. Very few accounts describe outright attack, but those that do are marked by overwhelming strength rather than savagery. In several regional legends, the almas is said to live in small family groups rather than alone. These groups are rarely seen together, but signs suggest shared territory and coordinated movement. Footprints of different sizes found together, multiple sets of tracks converging and then separating, shelters made from branches and stones that appear maintained rather than abandoned. These details have led some researchers to propose that the almas represent a recluse humanoid, a surviving branch of early human evolution that adapted to the isolation and harsh environments. Others argue it is a cultural memory of ancient encounters between modern humans and now extinct relatives. Skeptics counter that Almas is simply a misidentified bear, particularly when seen upright at a distance. Bears can stand, walk briefly on two legs, and leave footprints that confuse the untrained eye. In low visibility or high stress, the mind may fill in details that are not actually there. But those who tell the stories push back on that explanation. Bears do not steal tools. Bears do not build shelters. Bears do not watch from cover for hours. And most importantly, bears do not look human in the eyes. The Almas occupy space that science struggles with because it refuses to stay neatly categorized. It is not purely myth. It's not proven fact. It exists in the overlap between lived experience and explanation. That's what I have for you guys on that creature. What are my thoughts? I mean, we hear accounts across the world, not just in Asia, but, in the Americas and pretty much anywhere, that there is forests and mountains and, stuff like that. We hear accounts of these humanoid-looking creatures that, do stay at a distance, that they don't actually interact with humans often. Is it the missing link, as it were? Who knows? I cannot say exactly what it is, but as far as the skeptical explanation of it being a bear, yeah, I don't think that that's true. Because as it was stated in the research, even at a distance, a bear does not look human. And they definitely don't stand in one place observing what is happening around them on two legs for an extended period of time. While it is true what the skeptics say that when you're afraid, your mind does fill in things that doesn't necessarily exist, I think that for the most part, these creatures have to be real, and we have to almost accept that people are seeing something. What it is, I don't know. Unless I come into contact or see one myself, I couldn't possibly understand what they're going through in that moment. But, as you'll hear me say many more times, anything is possible, any creature is possible in a world that we know actually very little about. And that is the end of the Almas entry for this show. If you enjoyed the information, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to be notified of all of our future videos, as I do have several more coming. And we will not only be doing cryptid creatures, but I will be doing paranormal activity. I will be doing other legends, like what you would see on Travel Channel. So you're not going to want to miss any of that. If you do have any encounters with any cryptid creatures or any paranormal experiences, or even a request for a creature that you want me to do some research on and make a video about, please send that to me at emeraldravenparanormal@gmail.com. As for your personal experiences, if you want those read out on the page and you send those to me, you wish to remain anonymous, please tell me that inside the email, and of course I will respect that. Also head on over to Facebook and follow Emerald Raven Mystic. That is my business page where you can keep up with all my latest products, where you can find me, and all that other stuff. Now, I will tell you guys that every Saturday going forward, I will be, well, not every Saturday, there are going to be some Saturdays that I do have other events to do, but for the most part, I am going to be at Rhodes Marketplace in Sandusky, Ohio from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. offering shamanic healings. And on the 21st of this month, which I will of course announce again over the next week or so, we are doing our first paranormal investigation in the store, where we are offering you guys to come in and investigate. It is haunted. I have dealt with some of the experiences there, and is definitely going to be worth the trip. But that's it for today. I will see you all back here next week for the next episode. Until then, be safe, and remember that when it comes to legends, never be afraid to spread your wings and soar into the unknown.